All right, so in the last video, I showed you why your DMs aren't converting, and some of y'all watched that and was like, okay, cool, I get it. My DMs are broken, but like, what do I actually say, right? So that's what we're going to do today. But before I give you the framework, and I am going to give you the actual framework that we use, the exact 3 questions, I need you to hear me out on something first, right? Because if you miss this part, then the framework is really not going to save you. See, most people, whenever someone DMs them and they say something like, hey, I'm interested, they get excited. And I get it, right? I get excited too. Someone raised their hand and they may want to purchase something from us, and that feels great. So what do you do? Well, most people, what they do is they go, great, let me send you this video. Here's my link. Let me tell you about my program. We got 6 modules. We got weekly coaching calls. We got a community. We got lifetime access. Just stop, right? They didn't ask for any of that. They said 3 words. I'm interested, and that's it. They don't know you. They don't know what you sell. They barely remember the post that they just clicked on, and now you're trying to give them a full product demo in the DMs like you're working a booth at a trade show, right? That's what I call unwarranted advice. Giving someone information they didn't ask for to solve a problem that they haven't even told you about yet. And here's why it really kills the conversation. It makes people pull back. Think about it, right? If you're at a coffee shop and you overhear someone talking about their business and you just walk over, sit down, and start telling them what they're doing wrong, how does that usually go, right? They're pretty much looking at you and like, who the heck is this guy, right? That's the energy. So that's how it feels whenever you pitch in the first 3 messages, right? A doctor doesn't walk into the waiting room and start handing out prescriptions to strangers. You know why? Because a prescription without a diagnosis is a malpractice. Now, the doctor asks questions first. He says, where does it hurt? How long has it been going on? What have you tried? And then they actually prescribe something. And that's what most of you guys are doing in the DMs every single day, by the way. Conversational malpractice. You're prescribing before you diagnose, and then you're wondering why people ghost you or say, let me think about it. They didn't ghost you because your offer is bad. They ghosted you because you never earned the right to actually present it. You skip the part where they actually tell you what's going on in their world. You skip the part where they actually tell you what's going on with them and how they want to feel heard. They want to hear felt, right? And if someone doesn't feel heard and felt, they're not going to buy, period. And here's what I learned running thousands of these conversations, right? When something goes wrong, when they ghost, when they hit you up and they say, I'll think about it, when the price is too high, right? Just scroll up. The problem is never at the end of the conversation. It's always in the first few messages. You skip something. Maybe you rushed. You got excited to jump to the pitch, right? The set is the close is what I want you to remember, okay? And I'm going to say this one more time because it's very important. I'm going to use it entirely in this video. The set is the close. How you set up conversations determines whether they buy. Not your closer, right? Not your pitch, not your offer, not anything like that. It's how you set it up. So here's what I'm going to give you today. 3 questions. It's 3 questions you can ask before you ever send a video, before you ever mention the offer, before you ever talk about price. And when you nail all 3, people start selling themselves. You don't have to convince anyone of anything, right? They connect the dots on their own. And I'm going to walk you through each question. I'm going to show you what conversations good and bad actually look like. So you can see the difference in real time, right? And I'm going to show you the biggest trap that people fall into when someone asks a technical question. I'm going to give you the decoder for what I'll think about it actually means, because it's never actually thinking. It's one of 3 things, and all 3 of them start right here in the qualifying. So let's get right into it. All right, so in this video, we're going to cover how to qualify someone in the DMs without being weird, all right? And the 3 questions that make people actually sell themselves. So let's start with setting up this whole presentation, right? So let's start with the coffee shop. So you're in the coffee shop, you walk in, maybe you've been hanging out there for a little bit, however you want to think about it, right? You're sitting there and you overhear someone talking about a problem that you can solve, right? So what you do is you just walk right over to them and start giving them advice. They didn't ask for it, right? They don't know you, and they're definitely uncomfortable, right? This is the biggest mistake I see among all creators in the DMs by far, right? You're giving advice and giving people stuff that they didn't ask for, right? You have to earn the right to prescribe. You have to earn the right to be able to give advice, right? So they don't know you. So the most important thing is to slow it down, okay? The set is the close. And what this means for me on my team is if there's anything wrong in our sales conversation in the DMs, right? So if we see something that's not going the way we want it to, maybe they have a lot of objections, maybe they didn't convert, et cetera, right? If they don't buy at the end, then the problem was at the beginning, right? Always scroll up. And so that's what I mean by the set is the close. So anytime we're seeing issues, we always go up to the beginning of the conversation and read it from the top to figure out what might have went wrong, right? And so
Usually what's the problem is things that happen before people see an offer, right? And that's what I would like to call the qualifying phase. So, what is qualifying exactly? Like, what is it, right? It's not an interrogation, it's figuring out if there's a fit, right? Do you have something that this person needs, and do they see it, right? Do they see that they also need it? Right? That's the qualifying conversations, making sure that we're all on the same page, and also getting information from them to learn more, to see if this product or service or whatever it is you're offering could be a good fit for them. Okay. So before you pitch anything, right, there's kind of 3 questions, or you think of this more like a checklist, right? It's not 3 specific questions, but it's 3 areas that you need to answer for yourself before you're able to pitch anything, right? And this is the checklist. There's no shortcuts to this. You got to know. All right. So the 3-question checklist for ourselves to think about this whenever we are talking to a prospect in the DMs. So we cannot pitch, we cannot move that conversation forward until we know these things for sure, right? So number 1, do I know their situation? Do I know what they do? Do I know how long they've been doing it? What's working, what's not working, right? You can't really help someone you don't understand on a deep level what's going on in their world, okay? Number 2, is there a gap? So is there a place that they are at right now, and is there a place that they want to be, right? A lot of times we'll notice in sales conversation is that there's no gap, right? We've never actually made them realize that they actually want something, right? Or that they actually like want to achieve the next thing, right? So the easiest way I depict this on slides usually is, a lot of people are a frowny face right now, right? And they want to be a happy face. So frowny face, happy face. And in order for them to get to from a frowny face to a happy face, right, is for them to get over the gap, right? So that's the easiest way to remember the gap. And then number 3, is my offer relevant to them? Not just like relevant in general, right? But it's like, is it relevant to their specific situation and their specific gap? Meaning, can they see that my offer is going to help them in the way that they feel like they're going to be helped? Okay. So let me go on the dating version just to kind of sink this in a little bit, right? So before you ask someone out, right, who are they? Is there a fit? Do they see it too? You can't really want it more than they do, right? Meaning that like if you're going out with someone or you're going to date someone, right? Like if they're not interested in you and you don't know anything about them, there's a very unlikely chance that you're going to actually, continue a relationship and be in a good dating situation, right? So question 1, know their situation before you say a word about yours, right? What do they do? How long? How are they getting clients right now, right? That might be a good question for you, right? So let me show you an example of getting the situation. So it's like, hey, I saw your content. I'm interested in learning more. Love that. What do you do? I'm a real estate agent. Amazing. Or nice. How long you been in the game? About 3 years, mostly referrals, but it's really inconsistent, right? So what you now know, right, after just 3 messages, that quick little back and forth, we know, hey, this is a real estate agent, 3 years in. We know that they're referral dependent, and we know they're inconsistent, right? That's all it took. Just a quick little back and forth to get all this information that we can now use to make everything more relevant to the people we're talking to, right? And so that's what I mean by not rushing, right? Like get to know someone, learn more about them, see what their problems are, see if you understand like what they're going through, their pain points, right? And that's gonna help us move this forward faster, right? Question number 2, we want to find the gap, right? So this is that frowny face to smiley face thing I was talking about, right? But there's a reason that they're talking to you, right? There's a reason that they decided to reach out to you, they decided to message you, they said something. And so, or they're watching your content for a reason as well, right? So we want to find out where they are and where they want to be, right? There are people that you might talk to that don't have a gap, right? Maybe they don't have anything they want to achieve, right? That makes it much harder for us to pitch them because if they don't have a goal that they're trying to get to, then it's hard for them to feel the gap, so to speak, right? But here's what the gap looked like, or how can we kind of surface it, right? So here's an example. So got it. What would it look like if you had a steady flow of clients coming in? Man, if I could just get 3 to 4 clients a month consistently, everything would change. So right now it's inconsistent referrals and you want a predictable pipeline. Exactly. I'm tired of not knowing where the next deal is coming from. You see, so now this is the gap that we just surfaced right here in that same kind of example, right? The gap is the urgency. You don't need a fake urgency, right? They're just sitting on the gap right now. They literally have the urgency themselves. So we don't need to apply urgency. We need to reveal what the urgency already is, okay? So this is what it's like when you skip the gap, right? Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Things are pretty inconsistent. Oh, perfect. I have a system that can help. Let me send you the video. Okay, I'll check it out. And then 3 days later, they still haven't watched the video. And the reason that this is important is because we haven't established like why they need to watch the video, right? We haven't asked enough questions yet to get them engaged enough in the conversation to determine if this video even makes sense for us to send them. Okay. So why they didn't watch that video, and this is the last example, right? No gap, no urgency. No urgency equal your video is homework. And if your video is homework, nobody likes homework, so they're never going to do it, right? They need to feel distance. They need to feel that gap before your solution really matters, okay? So going into question 3, we want to make it relevant to them, not to everyone, right? We want to make it relevant to the person that we're talking to. So not some kind of generalized thing. So whenever we're talking about our product and talking about how our service or product or whatever it is may help this person, right? It needs to be specific to them, not a generality, right? Nobody likes generalities. Everyone wants to feel like that they're heard, understood, and felt, right? And so that little bit of catering to make it relevant, your message relevant to them, that's important, right? So here's what it means making it relevant, right? So that's literally what I help people in real estate with, building a system so you're not just waiting on referrals. I put something together that shows exactly how this works. Want me to send it? Yeah, for sure, send it, right? That's an example of making it relevant, and you can play with this as much as you'd like, right? You can make it as in depth or less in depth as you would like, but that's what it means by making it relevant. You want to take what they said, and then you want to give them a reason as to why they should do the next step, right? So if the next step of the process is them seeing a sales video, right? We're going to make it relevant as to why they should watch this video in the copy, in the text before we even send it to them. And also, we're going to ask permission, which is a big thing here. We're going to go more into some permission-based stuff in more videos, but you'll notice that we didn't just send them the video, we asked them permission to send the video. Big distinction there, but also very important, right? So yeah, for sure, send it. Cool. Next part. So let's talk about some generic stuff when it comes to these things, right? So generic is like, I have a program that helps entrepreneurs grow. It includes 6 modules in coaching. Here's the link. It kind of sounds like, spam, or it doesn't sound like, it could be a robot even, right? Making it relevant, right? I help real estate agents build consistent pipelines. So you're not just waiting on referrals. Want me to show you how, right? So this side, right, it's like making it sound like it's built for them. Like technically, help like real estate agents or entrepreneurs, right? Do they want to grow? Yeah, 100%, right? But you notice that what they wanted is more relevant, right? And that's really key aspect here. Not only in sales, but also copywriting, advertising, everything like that, right? The trap, right? This is the trap that everyone falls into, right? When they ask a technical question, you think that they're interested, but they're actually tire kicking, right? Don't get into the weeds with them. Acknowledge and redirect. Okay? So for a good example, right? What platform do you use for the CRM? Like if they haven't seen the offer yet, if we haven't actually like gotten to the point to where the offer is even relevant or far enough in the conversation where we'd even want to make an offer, right? All this stuff, all the questions they ask right here is we kind of want to deflect, right? We don't want to answer it correctly, or not say we don't want to answer it, but we want to say something like, hey, we're going to cover this later, but want to make sure it's a good fit first, right? So that's why you see this in the example right here. So great question. We'll cover all that, but first I want to make sure this is the right fit for you. What does your current process look like for follow-up with leads? So again, right, they asked us a question. We're not going to completely dismiss that. That's why this thing says great question. We'll cover all that. But we do want to redirect them, right, to the main thing, because right now it's not relevant for us to talk to them about the CRM if they haven't seen the offer yet. So none of that stuff is really important. So the golden rule, super important here. I could probably talk for another 2 minutes about this specific one, but the golden rule is assumptions, right? We are going to never assume that they've seen anything, right? We're going to never, ever assume that they saw anything. And along with assumptions, we're never going to make any assumptions, period, in the DMs. We're always going to clarify first. Why is that important? Because there's an old thing. This is going to show my age, but there's the thing that they say about assumptions is it makes an ass out of you and me, right? But that's so true, right? Like if you make assumptions, like you're going to say things that are not relevant. You're going to say things that are out of context. You're going to say things that are not important to the prospect, right? So assumptions are terrible. So we're going to assume nothing. Right? I'll think about it, quote unquote, right? Whenever you get this objection, and this is a really common objection that we usually get, right? I'll think about it. It's one of these three things usually, right? It's number one, they don't trust you yet, right? So they don't trust, you know, you. Maybe you sound like a robot. Maybe you sound like AI or whatever, right? Maybe they don't trust you yet. Maybe they haven't even seen the offer yet, or even they don't understand the offer, right? Because you pitched before they had context. And then number three, they don't believe it works for them because you didn't make it relevant to their specific situation, right? So when someone says, I'll think about it, there's a lot of reasons as to why they say, I'll think about it. And it also matters at what point in the conversation they said, I'll think about it, right? So very important. All three are qualifying problems, but not necessarily closing problems, right? If you scroll up in the conversation, you will very likely find out where you skipped a step, as we mentioned earlier with those three qualifying questions checklist for yourself, right? So the full checklist, just to reiterate, right? Number one, situation. What do they do? How long have they been doing it? What's working? What's not working, right? Do I understand who this person is? Number two, gap. Where they are versus where they want to be. Do they feel it? Do they know? Are they aware of the gap, right? Number three, relevance. Does your offer connect to their situation and their gap? So it's not just a random generic thing that we threw out there, but it's like, are we speaking specifically to this person and making sure that they understand that this is going to help their specific problem in the way that they would like it to be handled, right? So your homework for today, wrapping up right here, right? So number one, you're going to run the checklist on your next conversation, okay? Situation, gap, relevance. If not all three, then you need to keep talking, keep qualifying, keep asking questions, right? Number two, you're going to find where your last cold conversation went wrong, right? Scroll up, and then which of these three things did you skip, right? And then you're going to write three specific situations for your niche, right? Make them specific, right? What you do is just the start, but obviously that was an example for this video, talking generically to entrepreneurs and a lot of creators in general, right? But you serve a specific market, right? You serve someone specific. So like if I was in the life insurance niche and I was serving life insurance agents, I would be asking life insurance agent specific questions. Like, how long you been doing this? What kind of policies do you serve? Do you do whole life term or IULs, or what do you work with? Right? How long you been in business? What do you do to generate leads? So we're gonna write specific questions for the niche that you're in, and that's gonna be the next part, right? So diagnose before you prescribe, very important. I'm gonna wrap up the presentation with that, right? We wanna make sure that we understand the situation, the gap, the relevance, the three questions. That's the whole game, right? Diagnose before you prescribe. So make sure you subscribe, right? I'm going deeper every single week, frameworks, real conversations, stuff I really don't share anywhere else. And check out my books linked in the description, and I will see you in the next video.